Hello everyone and welcome along to live coverage of round number 9 of the Inside Line Racing League season here on Xbox One, and of course it is ILR1. I am Ginger Andy, and once again joining me for the latest instalment of this season here in Japan we have James, who has joined us in the commentary box mid sushi. Are you eating sushi next to me, James?
I wish I was. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to digress, so I'm not. It's rather less nutritious than that. But we're in Japan, aren't we? This famous circuit, Suzuka. Looking forward to this one. Just 3 rounds to go, including this one of the championship to go. It's going to be titanically close. This a pivotal race in who will win this drivers' championship.
Absolutely. Well, we were at Monza last week. We had an interesting race there which saw Leopard extend his championship lead up to 20 points. You know, Monza, a classic track, one that we all love, and we jumped straight into another one in this magnificent Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles in length, 5.8 kilometres, and the grand total of 18 turns. Quite a technical circuit. The only racetrack on the Formula 1 calendar that is in a figure of 8. And James, I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of this one. Really challenging for the drivers. Lots of runoff areas. Oh, sorry, no, that's a lie. Lots of gravel traps instead of runoff areas on this racetrack. It can punish the drivers. What for you is the most challenging part of this circuit?
I think really is the commitment through the first sector. I think it's probably one of the hardest on the calendar. Just having to fling the car from one side of the circuit to the other. You just fast fruition, really. It's such a technical part of the circuit. Really needs to get the car really well balanced around it, because it's a weird one. It's fast, long, looping corners that predominantly covers the first sector. But then you have a couple of twisty little parts in the middle sector. I would say you need a lot of downforce around here, especially not on the front end. It's more about just keeping that rear end stable, because a lot of the braking zones are very odd. You sort of brake round the corner as opposed to braking in a straight line. It's very weird like that, especially the hairpin where Kobayashi made himself famous in 2012.
Absolutely, Kamui Kobayashi, the kamikaze man, I suppose you could call him, on that day, making some lovely moves back in the real life event. I suppose you can, in the virtual world, try and make a move down there, but I suppose the majority of the action, you would imagine, would come in those DRS zones and down and towards turn 1. Probably the most likely of them. You can see a move into 130R if you really are brave, like Mr. Fernando Alonso, it has to be said. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, and many challenges. As you say, the S's are difficult. Degners 1 and 2. You really have to be brave through there. Throw the car in, determined it will stick. If you mess up the first part of the Degners, you're going to be in the wall at the second Degner. Simple as that. The entry speed is so high as we watch LCR Leopard approach it now. 165 miles an hour on the way in, and as you can see, there's not much runoff on the exit there of the second part. Very easy to hop and skip along the curb and into that barrier, and yeah, plenty of difficult sections on this racetrack. Another one, spin curve, easy to run wide and fail to get the throttle down early, because it's so important you do that with such a long acceleration zone following it. And of course the magnificent 130R and the final chicane, the Casio Triangle. It's certainly one of my favourite racetracks on the calendar to watch racing. I was never very good at it, that's why I'm a commentator, as it is so challenging. But yeah, certainly one of my favourites. And we barely mentioned it, we touched on it briefly, but we should go through the championship order as things stand, with 75 points still available. 3 races, of course. Japan here today, USA and Brazil. You have got LCR Leopard leading the championship. He has won 4 out of the 8 races so far this season, and he is 20 points clear of TRL Limitless in second. Leopard has 143, Limitless has 123. 34 points back is VSR Stira in third, he's on 109 points. Then a big gap to CRL Rosberg on 66. P1R Brown's on 64. Snazzy Evening on 48 points. He's joined on that tally by CRGA Murso. OMG is Joe, he's had a difficult season, he's on 25 points. Wait, that can't be right. He's not on 25 points. That cannot be right. Surely not.
Yeah, he's only competed in, I think he's only done 2 or 3 races this season, 2 of which I think he retired from.
Oh, right.
And the other one he won.
Of course. Yeah, well that's true. You see, that's the thing. I get confused with different leagues, you see. That's the thing. So he's on 25 points, and then you've got ILRT Hamilton and Bastic rounding out the top 10. So yeah, those top 3 drivers still in with a chance in the championship. But let's talk about VSR Sira briefly, James. 34 points adrift. You've got to say, from this moment on, it's got to be all guns blazing. He knows he pretty much has to win every race and hope for the best.
Absolutely. I think the thing really is around this sort of circuit is a race like this for Steer is probably bigger for him than maybe it is for a Limitless or a. I just don't know. It's a big race, I think, in the context of the entire championship. I feel if Leopard wins this, Steer is most definitely out of the championship. Unfortunately for him, he's definitely put up a valiant fight though. Flip side of it is, if Leopard doesn't finish today and Leopard and Limitless and Sarah both get on the podium or score some big points, the championship's right back on it again. It's just one of those sorts of seasons, but just one mistake can cost you everything, and that one bit of momentum and run that you need is going to lay you in good stead. I would say for Limitless recently, it's been a bit up and down, maybe not as consistency like the qualifying in in Italy was a big low for him. Cyril goes fastest of all. I was trying to get my words out there with a 27.3. Limitless puts himself into the top 3 as well. He needs a good qualifying to Limitless, and I'm sure he may get one here today. He's definitely not staying at the back of the grid at the moment, that's for sure.
Yeah, good effort there from Sarah to go quickest of all, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Tira Limitless, it has been his Achilles heel. He has improved in his qualifying in general across the board this season, but that mistake he made last time out in Monza will certainly haunt him. Such a uncharacteristic error from someone so consistent to go crashing out, and you know it really hurt his weekend and altogether. You know, he's pleased to recover. I believe it was 4th place in the end, but you know, he's got to put that right this weekend. And what about OMG's Joe? I mean, we briefly mentioned there, he's barely turned up. Well, he's barely been around over the course of this season, but he could certainly be a thorn in the side as well for the chasers on LCR Leopard. He could take points off the likes of Limitless and Sierra, couldn't he?
This is the sort of man I've wanted to be in the championship throughout, because this would have been a titanic scrap with Joe involved, and I think we said from day one of this season he really could have made this a proper scrap for the championship. I'm talking now, I don't think there would be a 20-point gap. I think it would be less than 10 between a lot of these guys. I think seriously he's got that sort of pace about him, and he's going to really play the devil's advocate role here, and there's no doubt about it. He is really going to hassle and harry the feathers of Leopard here, really where he cannot afford to be losing points in the championship. Joe might make him lose points in the championship just by finishing above him.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe can certainly get himself right involved either way, either in favour or against LCR Leopard or anyone of the other drivers. By, you know, we know he's certainly quick enough to compete with those guys, and I totally agree. If he'd been here since the start, he would have been one of the drivers certainly involved near the sharp end of the action, no doubt about it, in the championship. And here's P1R Brown coming around the final corner. He's going into the pit lane on his latest run. We've got the softs, the mediums, and I believe it would be the super softs this weekend. I might be wrong, I don't know. Is it the softs, super softs? I don't even know.
I think it's the hards. I think they use the...
Really?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, super softs. Yeah. Not bad.
I genuinely don't even know. I mean, that's shocking, I should know. But yeah, cars out on the track. VSR and Famous out there. He's 5th at the moment. What can he do? A 27.8 so far, his best. And remember, we had a few debutants last week. John's Alonike. Oh, for goodness, John's Alonike. Oh, Alonika. It's so hard. See the Greek names. It's an absolute nightmare. Villarreal, João Pedro, my favourite name ever, as well. Another one who was turned up the first time. Amaze was another one. But here comes Infamous, right up behind CRL Rosberg. And is he getting a bit of a slipstream here? It looks like he is, James, doesn't it? That might help him out on his lap time at the moment.
Absolutely. It didn't look like it helped him through the smooth curve there, though. Did get a little bit out of shape onto the outer turf, into the Castillo Triangle, the final chicane, as it were, and going out towards the line. And no, he won't. He'll go and dart himself right back into the pit lane. He'll definitely be one to watch as well. He's definitely a very quick driver, Infamous. I never watch him enough, I feel. I've never had the privilege of commentating on him an awful lot, but interesting to see. And Andy, we're right. The super soft tyres are the other soft tyres used by the drivers this weekend.
Well, in a roundabout way, we got there. I suppose in the end, we just about guessed every tyre compound there was, but we got there. Thank goodness. But yes, it's the super soft tyre, and it's good that we know that one. So we've got everyone at the moment who's done their best lap on the medium tyre. So I assume that because the super softs have been left to this point, that the majority are going to qualify later on the soft compound. It certainly looks that way, James.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that will be the way it goes. It's one of those last-minute dash laps on the soft tyres, and that's how you're get your best time on, or the tyre that will be best used for the race, well, it will probably not be the fastest time these guys will be able to achieve, but it will certainly be a good enough lap to get them where they want. And if everyone else is using softs, then, well, it's just, it's quite obvious, really. The faster the guys using softs will get the fastest lap time.
Absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on it. One run you usually get in that situation. As Jork comes round the final couple of corners, up the ticks, and is he going to come across the line to start a lap? Yes, he is, James. So you fancy taking us for a lap around this circuit?
Let's do it. Last time someone went on board with a lap with me whilst I was commentating, they went into a barrier, we won't name any names, in towards turn 1 we go, then really committed into the first corner as well. You can afford to brake well past turn 1, you're almost braking more in towards turn 2, then you fling it across the turn 3 and turn 4, keeping it nice and tight on entry through all of these corners as well. You don't want to be running wide on any occasion. It's so deceiving. The car just slides away from you through that long right hand and then through the fast left of Dunlop up the hill towards the first of the Degners. This is where the car really does start to feel a little bit unsettled. You're under braking when you're flat out through the first Degner. The back end almost tries to step away from you when you're going under braking, and then down towards, or up towards I should say, the hairpin. This is the place where of course you can make overtakes in the race. Difficult on traction as well. You'll notice a lot of guys will short shift their way through there just so they can find the grip on the rear tyres. Needs to bite in with a tarmac as he goes up towards the twin curve. Does Jork braking late once again, following the car in. Again, you don't be running too wide through there. It will cost you. Almonex as well. Do not get your car all the way over to the right. You will crash because there is a gravel trap onto the right hand side of the circuit there. Through 130R, this is flat out on these cars, and it's no question, no doubt about it, easy flat out. And then before you hit the foot on the brake pedal into towards the final chicane, then it just looks quite steady. You can afford to take different lines through the chicane, and up towards the line comes Jork. Wouldn't say it's going to be an amazing effort, but puts him into 13th place.
Unlucky for some, but could have been worse. He could have ended up in a barrier like last week when we went on board with someone. Thankfully, the curse has not carried on, and Jork has gone P13 with that time on the medium compound tyre. 5 minutes to go. We're waiting on the drivers coming out onto the pits on the soft compound tyre at the moment. We're still waiting on a few drivers to do so. I think John is the first man to come out on a set of soft compound tyres. So John's Alonika. Goodness me, it's going to take me some amount of time to get this right. I might have to wait till next season. John's Alonika. Goodness, it's so hard. It's so hard. Anyway, we'll just call him P8OK. P8OK. That's just his team name. Forget it. Anyway, John down at the hairpin in the Alfa Romeo. Once the Sauber that Kobayashi was driving through that section, overtaking cars for fun in front of the Japanese crowd. But yeah, he's on an out lap at the moment, getting ready to gear up for a first flying effort. We're looking to go one better than his debut, quite considerably better than his debut, where he retired. The only man that shone on his debut was, of course, João Pedro with that second place on the podium. And I spoke to VSR Sierra last week after the race, after the stream had ended, about his hopes, actually, VSR Sierra, of getting to the pro draft. And even if he does set a good enough time, unfortunately he won't be able to go. His family aren't prepared to travel back over to London, which is a bit of a shame for VSR Sierra, because he's got so much potential, James, doesn't he? He's on the pad and he's this quick. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's absolutely rapid on the pad, there's no doubt about that, and many have really described him as the fastest man on a pad on this game, and I may even have to agree with them. It's quite amazing, especially around a track like this. This is sort of where you get to feel just how quick this guy is, because this circuit, Japan, is not one for the pad, and I'm sure of it. The first sector is a mess, I'm sure, on a pad. On a wheel, it is it's God's dream, but this, on a pad, isn't a very good circuit. So the fact that he's the fastest man of all, over one lap at the moment, does really prove how quick this man is as he begins his final run, or penultimate run, in qualifying.
Absolutely. Well, he starts his final run. So let's go away from John at the moment, who I'm sure will do a pretty solid lap. João Pedro has started another flying lap, it seems, as well. So where is Sierra and where is João Pedro? So we'll go to João Pedro first, his Brazilian counterpart, because he is flying through that first sector into Degner 1. That really is one of my favourite sections of racetrack on the calendar, James, that Degner 1 and 2. The drivers have to be so brave, they need to be so committed, and they know if they get it wrong, they're going to go into the wall or into the gravel trap. We need to see more corners like that, more classic circuits that bite you, like this magnificent Suzuka circuit, as João Pedro now heads down into the spoon curve, taking a lot of speed in there, using a lot of curb on the exit of the corner. Now get on the throttle as soon as you can, as John predictably goes quickest of all, the first time on the soft tyre, a 1 minute 27.2, as the Ferrari of João Pedro hurtles down towards the flat out 130R. Where if you remember back, Joe had his heart in his mouth here last year during the race as he had a big slide in the Grand Prix, as we now watch João Pedro negotiate the Casio triangle round the final corner, past the big Ferris wheel and up to the line. It's a 1:27.0, so the Brazilian is now top dog. We're still not into the 26s. Can his fellow countryman Viasar Sira go quicker still, James?
Absolutely, he locked his wheels going into the chicane and towards the final corner and making the shortest run possible towards the line. It's a nasty bump on the exit there and does go into the 26s for the 26.5. That's a great lap from Sira.
It sure is. Great effort from Sira. The Brazilians have gone early. We now wait on TRL Limitless. We wait on OMG. It's Joe who's just behind him on the road to see what they can do. Leopard's just started his flying lap, so this is it. Here at the end of qualifying, they've left enough time in their pocket, these drivers, to do 2 runs on the soft tyre. In case they don't get the first one right, they should have plenty of ERS, they should have plenty of charge. But here goes Limitless, and has he backed out? I think he has, so he's going to go again. So that means that Joe goes past him, Bastek goes up into 3rd place, just ahead of John, as Joe picks up an almighty toe behind Limitless. He really left it late before pulling out there, but so far Sira is the star of the show. He's on pole by half a second. It's OMG, it's Joe going to get himself in amongst the Brazilians, all ahead of them both as he comes round the final corner, past the Ferris wheel, up to the line. It's OMG, it's Joe, and he's second, a tenth shy of that effort from Sira. But we need to find Leopard, and here he is. He's warming up his tyres. It looks like he's abandoned that latest lap as Kyle Mitchell goes quick as well, James.
Absolutely, it's a one lap god, isn't he, really? Can't make sure he can really put out when he needs to. People are damage himself into the top 4 as well now. So there's plenty of guys on laps here. Another ones to watch out for. First Verstappen, it proved many a time this season he can get amongst these guys towards the top. And across the line comes Verstappen. Not on this occasion, it's 7th quickest for the Force India.
John has seen the checkered flag. He was the first man to see it. I think João Pedro, will be one of the last men across the line. He's just gone through that first sector now with that 27.0 still to his name. It's getting very, very tight at the top of the order. Fiona Brown out there going again. Kyle Mitchell locking up. Sira is coming in. So that time from Sira, he cannot better it. Joe is slowed down in his latest lap. So the top 2 will not be going any quicker. What about Kyle Mitchell? What about Bastek? He goes 4th. Keep an eye on the rest. Where is Limitless? Yeah, Limitless is coming towards the end of a lap. And he's half a second up on his previous best through the first 2 sectors. He's now 8 tenths up, 8.5 tenths up. So TRL Limitless then looks like he's going to make a massive improvement. Is it going to be enough to move up into the first couple of rows? Here comes the Mercedes driver. He needs a big result. Here comes Limitless up to the line. What's it going to be? It's pole position. 1:26.5 from TRL Limitless. Can anyone respond? Leopard, he's 1.1 up. And his previous best. What could Leopard do? Go on, Jim.
He was so out of shape coming into the spoon curve. He was all over the curve, the AstroTurf as well. Watch him as he comes towards the line.
Here comes Leopard. Can he do anything about TRL Limitless towards the line? He's on the front row, but it's not enough. And by 8 thousandths of a second, TRL Limitless looks to have snatched the pole position. And that was a fantastic finish to qualifying. The top 3, the 3 drivers in the championship hunt, all within half a tenth of one another. Could you have asked for a better qualifying session than that? James Baker, and incredibly, it's Limitless that's quickest.
Oh, that was unbelievable. That was the best qualifying session of this season, without any question or doubt. That was absolutely nail-biting towards the end there. I was just saying, on that final lap of Leopards, he was full opposite lock coming through the spoon curve. He was so sideways. But there is your career. TRL Limitless, I believe, gets his first pole of the season. I could be wrong to say that, but it could well be his first pole of the season. Ahead of Leopard in 2nd place. Sirius Astrom 3rd. Ahead of Joe in 4th. Look at that. Under a tenth between the top 4. Carl Mitchell will be qualifying for 5th. Bastek starts from 6th. Infamous starts from 7th. Brown starts from 8th. Not the effort that João Pedro would have wanted to start from 9th. Verstappen rounds out the top 10. Only half a second in it between the top 10. Reynolds starts from 11th. It's Rosberg from 12th. 13th for Jason, 14th for John Dalanika, 15th for Melanie, and Jork round out the 16 drivers to take the Japanese Grand Prix.
Alonika. I'll get there once, eventually, James. I will get there. Alonika. But anyway, what a session. What a session. Absolutely brilliant. Limitless on top. Is that his first pole in ILR, potentially?
Could be. I think it might be.
I think it might well be, you know. And he is the top dog in qualifying by the slimmest of margins. You know, it's great that I was able to see there how much he was up on his previous best, how much Leopard was up on his previous best right at the end. You just knew they were going to be near the top. But Limitless, not only on the front two rows, he goes quickest of all with Leopard alongside him. Could you have asked for a better situation with 3 rounds to go in the championship, James? I don't think you could. This is so tasty.
This could well be as well. You know, Limitless has been known recently for his maybe better starts than what he had done in his ILR career. He's had some pretty messy starts in other races, but he needs a good one here. The inside line, I believe, is at the inside. I'm not sure which side pole positions are. I think it might be the inside. So he's got a bit of luck on that sense, but he's got to watch out for a fast starting Leopard behind. If he gets the launch, Leopard could be right in there into the first couple of corners.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. We've seen more than a few interesting title deciding moments at the Japanese Grand Prix, one of which in the very first corner is, interestingly, we get a view of a fence for the start of the warm-up lap. No, that's better. There we go. But 27 laps ahead of the drivers, and look at that. Limitless, Leopard and Sierra, the top 3 in the championship, together on the road. Leopard leads Limitless by 20 points, with Sierra 34 points off in third. Well, he can't finish this race third, or he's pretty much out of it. He could mathematically be out of it, the way things are looking here.
Yeah, it could well be. It's 50 points to be, well, 51 points to be mathematically out of the championship fight, but yep, everyone on the softs in the top 11, 12 places, and then it's Jason, John Dominic, Romani on the mediums. George starts on the softs. I was wrong what I said before. Pole position is on the outside. It's on the racing line towards turn 1. He may have the better traction there because simply more rubber gets laid down on that side of the circuit. Not sure how much of a effect that will play, if any, but still, that does mean that it's going to be on the inside for turn. It could get quite tasty.
Yeah, well, I have to be honest, Limitless at times, over the course on this game, has struggled getting off the line at times. He rarely makes big positions on the start. He has been doing it lately when he's been in lower positions on the grid, but he can only go backwards from this position. Hopefully, for his sake, he can get a good launch. But Leopard will be wary of that. He'll be hoping to pounce on any opportunity. And as we mentioned already, pardon me, Leopard absolutely loves to go for any move that's there. And he will do that, James, won't he?
He will do it. The other man I'm thinking of is Sarah and Joe. Do you remember some of the starts Joe made early doors this season? They were absolutely exceptional. So, got to watch out for him. Got to watch out for Sarah because he's a mad starter as well. Limitless could be really just that cork in the champagne bottle on the first lap in Japan.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly not a fan of getting off the line. He's mentioned that in a few of his videos. He just cannot seem to get the best getaway from the grid. I think he's been slowly getting better and improving in that, but he certainly needs it now, starting from pole position here in ILR at the Japanese Grand Prix. He's 20 points, remember, behind Leopard in the championship. It's not do or die yet, but you have to feel with 75 points available, he has to start taking points out of him, and that needs to start here. He's on the front row with LCR Leopard alongside. Who else? And Sierra sits in third. OMG, it's Joe waiting to try and take points off the championship contenders. He's certainly going to be trying to do that. He could have been one of the drivers in there from the start if he had been attending all the races. They're all lining up on the grid. We're getting set for what will be another cracking race. It's round 9 of the championship here in ILR. The cars are all on the grid. The top 3 in the championship are all lining up again alongside each other. This should be a classic. The 5 lights are on, and the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka is go. Limitless moving off the grid. It's a pretty even start between the top 2. Going into turn 1, it's Limitless. Sierra trying round the outside. He's going to get pushed wide. He slides off the circuit and drops down into 4th place. It's still Limitless leading with Leopard 2nd, Joe 3rd, and Sierra 4th, and Bastek in 5th. Pimona, Brown and Verstappen fighting further down the order. But it's the perfect getaway for Limitless. He holds on with Leopard 2nd, Sierra getting a squeeze, and now we've got people going backwards further down to the field, and that's Jason and Sierra Rosberg, both in the kitty litter in the S's, James.
Absolutely not the sort of start they'll be wanting to see, but a great start once again then from Mounties. Joe gets off the line very well indeed. Limitless actually got a good launch for once. That was actually a really good launch from Limitless, who gets off the pole position and led through the first corner, and that's the most crucial part of the entire race really around here. One of the most crucial was of course the start. He nailed it on this occasion. Joe got past Sarah, got his elbows out, and this is a worrying sight for Leopard behind, and Leopard in front of Joe now, but it'll be a worrying sight in his mirrors, that's for sure.
Yeah, and even more worrying for Sierra. He's going to lose out big time here, and Joe's going alongside Leopard. Is there a little bit of lag there potentially? There might be. He's going to try and line him up down the straight. He pulls out and decides against, but it's still Limitless leading with Leopard second and Joe in third, but he's looking really, really racy. And Joe looks absolutely determined to get involved in this championship battle as Bastic is going side by side with VSR and Famous going through the final corner. That looks like a tasty battle as they come across the line, on board with the racing point of the Force India. Side by side down towards turn one. Can Famous use that outside line to sweep clean round the outside? He tries to, he's still there. It would be a beautiful move, and it is from VSR and Famous. The Pink Panther gallops past and up into fifth place. Beautiful move, James.
Yeah, what a great move. So committed to get on the brakes through there. Done just enough. Bastic was losing the front end as he entered turn two. Just got a little bit out of shape. The front end just, I think they've clipped the racing point there, but it's all enough for him to get through turn two clean. The lead is starting to mount out a little bit, and that is exactly what Liverpool's probably wanting to see.
Absolutely. Kyle Mitchell there giving a little bit of a slide as I went on board with him. We got in the dirt here behind TSR Bastic, but he picks it all up and he's now right back on the back of the Renault in that battle for 6th and 7th place. Bastic, who just of course with that beautiful move overtaken by Infamous, now has his mirrors full of the Red Bull driver. We're staying on board at the moment with Kyle Mitchell as he comes round the spoon curve and now heads down that back straight towards 130R. And if you're wondering why it's called spoon curve, just look at the track map. It looks like a spoon as Kyle Mitchell now lines up TSR Bastic right into the slipstream behind him. Is he going to dive up the inside into the chicane? He certainly is. That's going to be tight between them. Are they both going to get through? Yes, they are. Bastic almost frightened out the way there, you have to feel, and Kyle Mitchell eases past him. Bastic just a little bit too tentative about where the Red Bull was, and he's going to pay for that because here comes P1R Brown and VSR Verstappen down towards turn one. P1R Brown on the outside, can he do it? Oh, he can't, but VSR Verstappen was right there ready to pounce, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was really close stuff between all those guys. They're still in it. They're still just three so close together on the circuit at the moment. The downforce, though, is going to be somewhat compromised through this first sector because of the dirty air that just gets played into effect, and it's really going to hurt the likes of people on Brown and Verstappen. You can see running wide through Dunlop curve again, and just once again can't find any way sort of through this part of the circuit. It will come for him, though. You've got to size them up throughout the course of a lap, and that's what we'll see with these guys.
Absolutely, as John's James, say it for me.
John's Alanika.
There we go. John's Alanika picks up a 3-second time penalty. I will get there. I will eventually get there. But there you go. He picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not great for him, but hopefully he can get up and running soon. Interestingly, João Pedro, he's not had a good start to the Grand Prix at all, has he? Look at that. Down in 12th place, poor qualifying, and now he's picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So he's lost 3 places. And he's got a 3-second time penalty, not living up to that great start he had last time out. But we need to go to the front because there's only 3 tenths between the two championship rivals, Limitless and Leopard, James.
Absolutely, he's going to have to do some defending at turn one. DRS for the first time. This is the first time we'll really see a defend. Here comes Leopard then, down towards turn one. He's going to be on the inside into turn one, and surely he's going to take the lead. Grand Prix. Yes, he does. He's into the lead. Great move from Leopard, and now Leopard slots him behind. But it was the DRS that played into effect, and Leopard took his chance with abundance.
Absolutely. Limitless, interestingly, not fighting that too much. Obviously feels that the battle will really commence later on in the Grand Prix, but Leopard never, ever going to turn down that kind of opportunity. Breezes past and moves into the lead on lap number 4 out of 27. The big question is, can he break away? Does he have the pace to break away? If he can, that spells trouble for Limitless because it would mean a 27-point gap with only 50 available. But of course, there is a long, long way to go in this race before we start talking about any permutations just yet. Leopard leads from Limitless, Joe and Sierra in the top 4. Then the battle developing behind. You've got Kyle Mitchell and Infamous. They look like they're going to be in a little scrap soon. Kyle Mitchell making some good progress at the moment, James, isn't he?
He is indeed, and we know how racy he can be, Carl Mitchell, so let's just see how racy he is with Infamous. They've always dropped these guys, the top four, they just bolstered away, and there's no real chance for Infamous or Carl Mitchell, unless all the top four get into a mighty scrap, but Leopard's starting to stretch his heels as well. Carl Mitchell looking for a move to 130 up, and he will not be passing him on this occasion.
Yeah, here we go. Is he going to try it into the braking zone? No, he's not. He did lose 2 places from the start, Kyle Mitchell, so he's trying to earn them back. And this would be the second of them. If he can get back into his grid position of P5, he gets a massive moment of oversteer coming around that final corner, perhaps on the bump. And now down towards turn 1 they go. Here goes Kyle Mitchell. Bye-bye. And through he goes up into 5th place. But Joe really close behind Limitless going through turns 1 and 2, isn't he?
He is indeed, and Limitless actually went a bit wide through 1 and 2, and that's maybe why Joe's all over him now like a rash, and Limitless didn't need that. He needed to stay within the DRS range, to really within half a second of Leopard to have any chance of passing him.
Yep, absolutely. It has to be said, you know, Limitless cannot afford to get embroiled in a battle with Joe, who is not in this championship hunt, is Infamous now. Picks up a 3-second time penalty, and, you know, it's crucial. Limitless doesn't allow that to happen. It's John's Alonika. Hey, I've done it. John's Alonika is out of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, a yellow flag is out there, and for the second successive race since his debut, he fails to score points. And that's not too good a start to his ILR career, is it?
Absolutely not, and I'm sure he won't be celebrating the fact that the first time he got his name right was when he crashed out the Grand Prix.
Oh well, sorry John. I'll just keep saying it wrong, and then I might get somewhere. As OMG, it's Joe. Goes through 130R, right up behind TR Limitless, not close enough to make a move. But yeah, as I was saying, absolutely vital Joe doesn't get Limitless doesn't get involved in a battle with Joe. He needs to stick to Leopard, doesn't he?
He does. Limitless just needs to keep closing. He needs to go out a little bit later on the brakes. He needs to be a bit more risky. That's why I'm surprised he didn't defend as hard as he did when Leopard had DRS. It's a bit of a shock, really, but I'm not sure why he didn't defend it as hard as maybe he thought. Maybe he thought he had the top end speed down the straight, but he just didn't. Nowhere near.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he feels he's got pace in the car for later on in the race, and he just want to save some ERS, save some fuel sitting behind him. That can be the only explanation from that. Given that he was on pole position, and it's not often you'll see Limitless on pole position, he's usually a man in the race that delivers. So maybe he feels he's got that extra bit in his pocket this afternoon, and he's not going to be too concerned about Leopard breezing past him. But it is surprising, slightly, given that they're in such a big championship battle. I have to agree with you in some sense, James. But, you know, he's allowing Leopard to get to around 7 or 8 tenths, and that is a dangerous game.
It is. Yeah, and he has done this in the past as well. There's been races, I remember. I think it was Spain was probably the best example of that, where he was actually maybe even quicker than Leopard through the first stint, but he just didn't overtake him. He thought, oh, I'll be alright come the end of the race, and then Leopard won it by like 10 or so seconds. It was crazy.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it's a gamble, that's for sure, not defending. We'll see how it pans out over the course of the remaining laps. It's lap 6 out of 27. We're about to start lap number 7 as they come round the final corner across the start finish line. Well, I was going to drop down the order. I'm not going to do that. Limitless still quite close with OMG it's Joe, but no, we are going to shift back down because Bastek's going side by side down towards turn 1 with Infamous. They're continuing this little battle, these two, and Bastek's got him back. Infamous made that beautiful move earlier. Bastek gets him before the first corner in a slightly less spectacular move. Does he care? Not a bit of it. He's back up into 6th place, Infamous down to 7.
I'll tell you, another textbook move into 7th seems to be the best place to make an overtake so far this evening. Everyone's seemingly going for their opportunities when it matters into the first corner. Infamous starting to drop away now. His pace isn't looking as strong as it was potentially against the start, but I'm sure he'll come back into his own as this race progresses. 6 tenths between the top two. Limitless actually seems like he may be faster through the first sector, but just almost loses it with the top end speed. Maybe Leopard's just got that little click to the left less on his front wing than Limitless. Just through the first sector, Limitless is catching, but everywhere else it seems like Leopard has got the slight advantage on him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's have a little look at Beryl Pedro up behind Melanie. Don't know what's happened to him this afternoon, James. Such a great performance last time out. Scrappy in qualifying, scrappy start to the race, a penalty to his name as well, and he's down fighting outside the points with Melanie at the moment. So he'll be looking to make some progress to climb up the order. He's got Jork in front of him further up the road in the top 10, so he'll be hoping to hold on to some precious points. But João Pedro at the moment, right behind Melanie, and looking to make a move pretty soon.
Absolutely, watch Joe as well, because he's going to be all over Lewis to turn one. He is all over him, just about to back out. It's the first corner. I just saw the gap was like 1,500, so I thought, my goodness me, they're going to be side by side for it. And indeed they were. Joe backed out through turn one, knew he wasn't going to be able to commit to the move.
And yep, as I cut away to see that, I almost missed João Pedro and Melanie going through the first corner, side by side. João Pedro overcooked it through the second part, broke a little bit too late. Rally style went wide and Melanie slithered back through. But yeah, apologies folks, we did miss that Joe versus Limitless in the turn one. Thankfully we didn't miss an overtake in that occasion, as Pedro fails to get his way through on Melanie in the battle for P11. So let's move back up the order then. What's going on in the midfield? We've got Infamous and Bastic still pretty close together, with P1R Brown tucked right up behind them as well. And P1R Brown, he was the pole sitter, was he not, back in Monza? Didn't quite materialise to the strong race he would have been hoping for, but you know, stuck in the midfield at the moment in P8. What can he do from here?
It'll be interesting, I think, for P1R Brown. He's had pace, really, some really good pace when it matters. The points this season, it's just maybe being that bit more consistent and just getting those podiums as well. You'd have probably maybe wanted more podiums this season. Hasn't been able to achieve them, and have a penalty for his efforts and hits from 4th place.
So that's a stop-go penalty, 5 seconds added for Sierra's time for speeding in the pit lane. That is going to really, really hurt his afternoon and probably bring an end to his championship hopes. It has to be said, with that kind of mistake, but you don't know, you just never know what's going to happen. There's so much can happen in a Grand Prix, but that is not good for Sierra. And the reason I say anything can happen, you remember the Japanese Grand Prix here 2 seasons ago, James? Terrell Martin disconnecting when he was on course for a big strong result. If you're watching, Martin, I'm sorry for bringing it up, but you know, it just goes to show in the heat of a championship battle anything can happen. Punctures, disconnections, anything, crashes.
Yeah, but for all those left, we actually had a really good race in Japan those 2 seasons ago between Leopard and Danny, I believe it was. Was it Danny who won that day? I could be wrong to say that. It might have been Leopard. I can't remember. I can't remember. We're getting old, James. We don't have that great memory. P1R Brown. Anyway, he's out 7th as the result of that pit stop. Still tucked up behind VSR and Famous. Sierra's rejoined the race in 13th place. He's got 9.5 seconds roughly of clean air up to the next car, which is Jason, as things stand, as we continue to watch this battle in the midfield. I've got position change up. I'm going to give you the tyres. There's the pit stops. Sierra, Reynolds and Rosberg, the 3 drivers to have pitted. Fresh mediums for VSR Sierra, presumably to go to the end on those tyres, James. Yeah, and that would probably be the way he goes. Carl Mitchell's decided to pit as well. Joe is probably closer to Sierra as anyone else, as everyone else is flying through the first corner. Yeah, everything's going all right through there. A couple of pit stops being made. That should trigger the first few to make stops. Limitless is starting to really lose a little bit of time now behind Leopard. I would think that really needs to pit. I think that would probably be the best bet.
Well, Limitless, he does sometimes like to go a little bit longer into the Grand Prix, do his own thing. What does he do here? As you say that, he brings it back down to 6 or 5 or 6 tenths. He certainly is stronger in that first sector, no doubt about it, James. I certainly agree with you there, as Joe's still keeping him honest. And he's a real pest here, Joe, isn't he? He could swing this championship one way and the other with a 20-point gap here as things stand. You know, Joe can really help one of the drivers to extend, you know, gain 10 points here. Get Limitless back to within 10 or get Leopard out to 30 points, because he could be the man in the middle splitting them. So crucial if Joe could do that.
Absolutely. The thing I'm sort of thinking is, I don't want to make it sound awful, they're not going to be scared of Joe. They'll be worried of him because they know what he can do on some occasion. He can come out with these banzai laps when he needs to. And really, he is the threat here. He could be the man to really, as you say, ruin this championship fight for these two. If any of these guys pick this lap, no, they don't. Joe does, though. That's what I mean. Things like that will be maybe treating the minds of Leopard and Limitless.
Yeah, I was talking about taking points by giving one a bigger advantage than the other, but he could take points off both of them by winning the race. Joe has got absolutely nothing to lose, so he pits a little bit earlier, he fits a set of the medium tyres, and he should rejoin in some relatively clean air maybe. And will that give him the opportunity? He's going to be quite close with Jason here, maybe not the clean air he needs. It might be just enough though if those guys are coming in on the next lap or so to make the advantage work. So can Joe come out ahead of those drivers and really get in amongst the championship contenders? This is massive for the race. Limitless now only half a second behind Leopard. Is he maybe trying to stay within range to try and overtake him in the pit stops, James? Is that his thinking maybe?
There's a big risk to try that though. I mean, it's weird because then you've got to start playing on who's further down the pit lane, because he's maybe not going to be held in the stop. It's all about the sauce at that point. That's such a difficult game to play. There's already close to him at the moment as well. Serious intense play. He's fighting away with Infamous, who's just in front of him here. The Williams is really getting involved with the racing point there. It's going to be so close then between Joe and all these guys in front of him in the form of Limitless and Leopard. If they do decide to stop on this lap, we'll soon find out.
Well, Sira must have taken that penalty. He's 8 seconds or so behind the back of OMG. It's Joe, so it's not worked out at all well for Sira. Leopard comes in and Limitless will follow. Will they both get the timing right on the braking? Look how aggressive Limitless was in the way in there. So much later and into the pits. This is key for the championship. On go a set of the medium tyres. Have the Mercedes team got the jump on the Renault team? Leopard still in the box.
Yes.
Is he having to wait? Yes, he is. No, he's not. The game's playing tricks with us, and Leopard stays ahead, but where is OMG? It's Joe. That's the next key. He's coming down the start-finish straight. Look out for a bright yellow Renault and the Mercedes, and Joe's going to split in between them, and that's huge for the championship. Limitless with egg on his face now because Joe is in between them, and that at the moment stands at a 30-point advantage for LCR Leopard. There's a long way to go, but Limitless has work to do now, doesn't he, James?
Yeah, but so has Leopard, because he's got no heat in those medium tyres. Joe's got all the grip in the world, and he's really harrying that Renault car as they head down towards the Dignus. He's got so much more grip in that McLaren. It's a joke. He needs to punish him now.
Absolutely, he does, and it doesn't look like it's coming here. Has Leopard ridden the storm through that first sector when it's so difficult to overtake? I'm not so sure he has. Leopard is going to be under threat here. Joe is so close to the back of him as they go down towards Spoon Carp. The only saving grace might be that Ferrari in front of Leopard. Is he within a second of him? Not at the moment. Will he be by the time they get to turn one? That's the question. But Joe isn't interested in hanging around. He's right behind him as they go down towards 130R. Close your eyes, folks. Championship contender fighting non-championship contender. Joe right up behind him going through 130R. Is he going to go for it? It's like Prost and Senna. Joe dives up the inside and he's through into a net lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Leopard demoted, and surely that will please TRL Leopard. But it's not over yet as they go across the line. Is Leopard going to be close enough? No, he's not. And TRL Limitless, that will please him massively.
That is one of the few occasions we've seen someone pass LCR Leopard this season. It's very, very rare. We've actually seen him being overtaken. He's been, I don't dare I say, he's been mugged off badly there by the McLaren of Joe. He was just hassled and harried him into 130R, and he was having none of it on his left foot. He was properly going for that. He was so committed to going down the inside. Leopard could have put a great wall of China between them, and he still wouldn't have stopped that McLaren coming through because he's absolutely just so committed on that brake pedal. And now Leopard's going to have to watch out behind for Zero Limitless if Joe decides, well, actually, I'm quite favour Limitless in this one and try to back them up. He is starting to pull away, though, as the McLaren.
Well, it has to be said. It has to be said that Joe went for it there, and that was quite clear. That was, you know, as we said, nothing to lose. That move suggested he had nothing to lose, and it also suggested Leopard had plenty to lose. Usually you'd maybe see Leopard turning in there and saying, you know what, we're going to have contact because I am not prepared to lose this position. Not on that occasion. Leopard knew what was at stake in the championship, and he just had to wave Joe through with that kamikaze move, and Joe now is in the net lead of the race. We're going to go up to that battle in a moment. VSR been famous, is very close to the back of Sierra, but he's not close enough for a move. But so let's go up to the front as Joe puts one on Jason and puts a car between himself and Leopard. He's caught him at the perfect place in the racetrack and left Leopard stuck behind him potentially through the whole of the S's there, James. That is perfect for Joe.
Yeah,
perfect.
Clinical, absolutely clinical. Just honestly, that is perfection from Joe. That whole stint, and then able to do that. That is perfection, pinpoint accuracy from the McLaren. I don't want to pick him up too much because it always goes wrong, but that was absolutely sublime from Joe. He's now just look at this loss of time they're having behind this Ferrari of Jason, who had quite a good showing in Monza in terms of qualifying, but now he's just holding up this train of cars. Limited isn't too far behind. Limited has got to pass here as well. Leopard getting a little bit put off on the braking. Watch Limited just getting at the run. Jason's not losing here. He doesn't want to give this in.
Absolutely, look at this is incredible. Leopard side by side with Jason. Limitless is right there, here we go. This is going to be interesting into the spoon. We saw what happened with Vettel and Verstappen. Thankfully they all come out of it unscathed. Leopard is through, Limitless sneaks through as well. And now, Limitless is right in position to go for a move. Leopard vulnerable, doesn't have DRS to Joe in front, and Limitless knows he has to go for it. He surely is beginning to rue letting Leopard go earlier in the Grand Prix. Here we go then, into the Casio Triangle on lap 14 out of 27. Round the final corner they go, and Limitless not getting the exit he needs. Can he reel him in with the DRS? It doesn't look like it, James. And Leopard is going to stay in front, isn't he?
He is on this occasion. And it's just it's the first sector we get going on about it, but Limited looks like a little bit stronger through there, so maybe he's toying with him and just hoping that he can get him through the first sector. Look how much more committed. I don't know, it's a bit close between them at this stage, but here, this is where you'll see him look at. He's closing up a lot through there. Is Limitless. He just needs to get the power down. He's able to get the power down a little bit earlier in the Mercedes and compared to the Renault, which is a bit interesting. Into the Degness. And this is what I'm interested to see, really. Is Leopard going to be punchy with Joe as the race progresses? Because we know these two have got history, and I'm really, really looking forward to this.
Well, that's the thing. Does Leopard want to get involved with Joe? I mean, I know there's history there, but does he really want to do that? We know he's young, but is he wise head on young shoulders, Leopard? Does he really feel he needs to, with a 23-point cushion as things stand on the racetrack, attack Joe and potentially throw that away? That's the question, because he knows if he keeps it all under control with a solid result in the remaining two races, say he finishes third in them both and Limitless wins them both, that will still be okay. So Leopard needs to think about things here. Does he consolidate and try and keep a hold of third, or does he go, or second, sorry, or does he go for it on Joe? I mean, personally, well, I think I'm a wise man. Whether I am or not, I'll leave that down to everyone else. I personally would try and stick with that second place. How would you treat this one, James?
I think it just sort of comes as it comes, really, isn't it? It's a bit of a weird scenario because he might be faster than Joe, and he may feel actually, being sat behind him too long, he's going to have to pass him because Limitless has got a bit of pace behind as well. That's going to be really interesting, absolutely. But Leopard, it's almost like how much he wants it as well, because if he goes for the move, he wants it. He wants to win this race, and he wants to win the championship as early as he possibly can, like anyone does. So that is what he's really playing with here. But then, as you say, on the flip side, second place is enough to extend his lead. Currently, where Limitless is, that's enough for him to extend his lead in the championship. So many variables in there, and Joe is again being that devil's advocate, as I said he would be in qualifying.
Well, folks, we always like to hear from you in the comment section, so let us know, what would you do if you were in LCR Leopard shoes? You're currently, as things stand, going to extend your lead to 23 points with only 50 available going into the next two races, or do you go for it, try and pass Joe and extend your lead to 30 points? Risk throwing it all away and letting Limitless in. It's so difficult, it is so difficult. Let us know what you would do in the comment section. I personally would stick rather than twist.
Yeah, the thing is, it's one of those, isn't it? It sounds so obvious, the answer, but when you're actually in the moment, you're not even thinking about it. You're simply thinking, I need to win this race. Like, are you really thinking about the championship at this moment? Probably not. You're probably thinking, well, what am I going to do to get back past that McLaren? And that must be the only thing in his mind, is Limitless actually sets the fastest time of the race. These top three have been trading fast lap times, and Cyril's actually got past Carl Mitchell into turn one this time, so he's back into his fourth place, and ahead now of the Canadian and Carl Mitchell. There's a great little scrap going on there for fourth, fifth and sixth place, and Vaztek's going to join the fray as well as seventh.
Yeah, it's actually gone under the radar actually over the last few laps. Apologies for missing that one, folks, but yeah, getting himself ahead of Kyle and back into the top 34, so he's on a bit of a recovery drive, but as things stand, the championship gap is going to increase from 34 points to 40 points, I believe. Yeah, 40 points. So as things stand, he's pretty much out of the championship running. But there is still 10 and a half laps to go. That can change. That can most definitely change as Leopard just ekes into the DRS territory of Joe, and that will comfort him slightly, won't it?
Yeah, and also I think Levin's just starting to get to grips with these medium tyres now as well. He looks a little bit more on it. I've been watching, not even watching the off-board shots this race. I've been watching them all on board and seeing where they're making a bit of time on each other. Quite interesting perspective to watch it from. Has to be said, Levin's really let on the race again into the Castillo Triangle, and we know he's just got a bit of pace when it matters. He's going to have DRS as well on this occasion. 8/10 between Leopard and Joe. Let's see how it all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to say, folks, as a streamer and commentator, I usually, I'm quite addicted to the onboard cameras. I just love them. I absolutely love them. So sometimes people moan at me and tell me, get off the onboard. I mean, it's so true. I shouldn't be on the onboard so much because that's what the drivers are seeing. You watch that in their YouTube videos afterwards. I should give you more of the broadcast cameras. But sometimes with that engine noise on board, I just cannot help myself. As I'm a big fan of the onboard cameras, and I'm glad you are too, James, enjoying it from the onboard perspective, because it's my favourite way of watching as well.
Look how close this is getting though. Top three, that's about a second and a half between these top three.
Brilliant.
Nothing in it. This is going to be so close.
I cannot wait. Get the popcorn out, folks, if you're watching at home. If you can pause the stream, feel free to pause it. If you're not bothered about watching it live, get it paused. Go, grab yourself a cup of tea, some popcorn, and get ready for the remaining section of this race. Have we got a problem further down the order? Who's off the road?
Verstappen. Yeah, he's spun around, and that's a frustrating afternoon again for him because he's in the points as well and scoring some good points as well. Is it going to play in his hands this time? Leopard and Joe, though, as we head down towards the final couple of corners and towards that pit straight with DRS, this is going to be Titanic.
It really is. What does Leopard do? How do you approach a situation like this against one of your biggest rivals, arch nemesis, who you've got bitter blood with in racing terms? Do you go racing with him? He's not in the championship fight, Joe. Or do you stay where you are with your championship rival tucked right up behind you? It's just such a difficult balancing act to follow. What do you do? Do you stick? Do you twist? That's the question. Well, there's going to be plenty of twists and turns over the course of the remaining few laps. So get ready, buckle up, folks. This is going to be exciting. Where do you see and what do you see happening from here, James?
Well, it's just so close to the call. I don't think you can really predict, especially with Joe and Leopard at the front. You never know. Everyone in the stream, if you're watching, they know what these guys have had in the past. They know the contacts these two have been into with each other in the past. And honestly, if there's contact here now, this could hit the roof. It really could. And you just cannot imagine the sort of consequence that would be behind such an act like that, and we'll soon find out. Limitless is just sitting in behind. I think he's ready. He wants to pounce, but he's just seeing the opportunity, sizing these two up in front of him.
Absolutely, but look at Leopard, he's right there. He's a racer at heart. He knows the championship's at stake, but he wants to win the race. That's what racers do. That's what the youngsters do. If you're Leopard, it's all about winning. It's about the here and now. Coming up to the line, is he going to be able to do it down towards turn one? He's getting closer and closer and closer, but not close enough as they reach for the brake pedal, and it stays as they are. The wise old head, we're calling him old. I think he's 26 here, I'm 23, but when you're racing against the youngsters of Joe and Leopard, who aren't even old enough to qualify for the F1 Esports series, you really do know that you're getting old in this game. But the wise old head of TRL Limitless just waiting for any errors in front to sit and pounce on it. He will be desperate for Leopard to go for a move on Joe, won't he?
He will be, but he's gaining so much in the corners. It's a joke, is Tyrrell Limitless. First sector, he is flying. He's absolutely flying. He's got to risk it as the Mercedes driver. If anything, Joe and Limitless have got nothing to lose, and that's nothing against Leopard. That is simply the way it is. Limitless isn't leading the championship, so you could say he's got nothing to lose. Obviously, he's got everything to lose in the context of maybe, but we will soon see. Leopard looks like he's got a bit more top end speed than what's around him, and that's what's keeping him in there.
Yeah, I think Joe got a little bit onto the curb there. It didn't really help his traction, and Leopard can sense blood. He's getting closer as Leopard through 130R for lap 20 out of 27 he goes. Is Leopard going to have a look in the brakes? He isn't on this occasion, but he's gone wide. Has Limitless hit him? Did he hit him there? I missed that. He was certainly wide. I was on board with Leopard. Did he hit him? I think so. So now Limitless, is he going to go for the move, or is he going to sit behind and just wait it out? Or is he going to try it? Into turn one, he's getting closer. No, he's not. Did he hit him, James?
Yeah, he did. There was a slight tap on the rear tyre but there. I don't think it was enough to spin him round. It wasn't enough to spin him round. And thank goodness for that. That would have been something else. But it was enough. He got his nose in there. I don't think Leopard expected it. I certainly didn't. And he dived down the inside into the Garcia triangle and couldn't pull it off on this occasion. But he is looking punchy now, is the Mercedes driver. He's never won a championship in the past. Well, a major championship in the past. This would be his opportunity to do just that.
Absolutely, this is absolutely nail-biting. The top two drivers in the championship. Light contact between them on that previous lap. Down at the Casio triangle. Oh, this is hotting up beautifully. Joe actually, because of that contact, was able to stretch out to a second, but the fact he's been reeled in again suggests he might not have the pace. Or is this a tactical move from OMG It's Joe to back Leopard up into TRL Limitless? Could that be potentially what he's trying to do? You just don't know. You don't know what's going through the driver's mind. I'm not suggesting he is, but you just don't know. As in Famous and Kyle Mitchell get close together as well on the racetrack. We'll quickly go to that as the front three are a little bit spread out than what they've been in previous laps. And in Famous is very, very close to Kyle. Is he going to send it? Not on this occasion. He stays tucked up behind him as they go through the Casio triangle in the battle for 5th and 6th. Sierra has broken clear of this little group, this trio of Infamous, Bastic and P1R Brown and Kyle as well. Sorry, quadruple I should say. There's 4 of them in there. Oh, and Famous as I went on board there, almost went for a gap that wasn't there into turn 1. But do you think that's what Joe's trying to do? Back Leopard up perhaps?
Possibly. I mean, again, we sort of say you don't know what you're going to do as a driver in this situation, but honestly, Joe's probably got time to think about it, because although he could beat these guys, we know he's not in the championship fight. He's simply here. I don't want to say making up the numbers, but he's a bit more than that in the context of what he's doing in the championship right now, but not in the terms of what he's fighting for. He's simply fighting to win this Grand Prix. He's not fighting for the championship. That's just one of those weird scenarios. We don't often find it, and when it does occur, then you do wonder what would happen. And this is a sort of scenario that we find ourselves in now, half a second between Joe and Leopard. But it is that first sector where maybe make or break for Leopard. That little bit less downforce you feel the Renault is running, or at least I feel the Renault is running. It's quite evident he looks like he's running a little bit less on the front end.
Yeah.
You can see in the straights, he's gaining crazy time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to recap, folks, there are 75 points available, including this one in the championship. LCR Leopard leads by 20 points. At the moment, he stands to extend his lead over TRL Limitless by a further 3, with only 50 available after this one. This is the situation between the top 2 in the championship. Leopard and Limitless. Joe is not a factor, but Leopard and Joe have got history. As Limitless runs wide and picks up a 3-second time penalty down at turn 1. That could be crucial in the context of this race. Does Leopard know that? Will that halt his attack on Joe? That's another question that we need to answer. Can you tell me, James, how many warnings does LCR Leopard have to his name?
Just the one. It's the same for Joe as well. So now we're sort of focusing on the fact that it could be a scrap for the lead or for the win here. But I don't think that's going to trouble Limitless in his attempts to try and get past Leopard here. And you know it as well, because although he goes, well, I've got a 3-second time penalty, now it's more than ever. What's he got to lose? He can only go for it. Similar to Verstappen and Hamilton in Monaco a couple of weeks ago. And that is what we're playing with here.
Yeah, I totally agree. You've taken the words clean out of my mouth. I was literally about to mention that. It's just go for it. Hell for leather. If you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. You just have to. But Limitless at the moment, not trying it. I think he might still be banking on Leopard trying this here on OMG It's Joe. Will he try it? He's now very, very close. And I think he fancies his chances. He's going to try and go down the outside of Joe. Joe covering the inside. That's going to affect his exit out of the chicane. and that might give Leopard the opportunity he's been waiting for. Down the start-finish straight to begin lap 24 out of 27. LCR Leopard senses an opportunity to go 30 points clear in the championship. He's going to try and go down the outside of Joe. They're side by side through turn 1, and Joe just about holds on as Limitless gets ever closer. He's right there now as Joe continues to hold him up as Limitless gets weary going through the S's. Wow.
Oh, he is not giving this an easy shot. Honestly, some drivers there have gone and just admitted defeat, but he didn't. He kept his foot in there and he thought, no, I'm not letting you have this lead off me. And that was just brilliant. Through the first corner, so late, so committed. I dare say so much trust between those two to go side by side through the first corner of that. Crazy stuff.
Oh, lock up there from Leopard. And Limitless was almost hitting the back of him there. Oh, is he going to go for it? Is he going to go for it at any opportunity? Limitless with the penalties, the penalty he adds to his name. He locked up, ran wide. It was a little bit of a harsh penalty, but you need to keep it within the racetrack. It was a running wide, losing time that actually gave him the penalty. So here he goes, up behind the back of LCR Leopard, going down towards 130R. It's still Joe from Leopard and Limitless, the front three. They've been stuck together literally from the get-go here. Oh, and Limitless trying again. So close, yet so far away from passing Leopard down at the Casio Triangle. Round the final corner, across the line they go, and famous 5-second stop go for exceeding track limits. Down towards turn 1, is Leopard going to go again? Round the outside he tries, and Joe again has it covered. And as you've mentioned, James, he is not going to give this up at all.
I bet he's loving this. I bet he's really loving this. It's just getting himself involved in business that he doesn't need to be in. I'm sure he is thriving off it. That is what this man does. Let's look at the added traction. He can get his foot down coming through that first sector. I keep saying it. He is so strong in that first sector compared to left. He's closing in.
He's going to have a chance.
Thinking for the second dead and into the head, but he'll have a chance. Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to go for it, I think. Will he have a go? He's going to go down the outside. Leopard covers the inside. Leopard maybe seen it coming. That's going to give Limitless the better exit. Coming off the corner. He's tucked right up behind the Renault as they sweep through the long right-hander down towards Spoon Curve. Still Joe ahead of Leopard and Limitless in third, and Limitless knows it's now or never. He has to put one on Leopard. Does Leopard know about Limitless's penalty? Is he going to try and defend it? All the evidence at the moment points towards yes, he absolutely will defend it. Defending the inside is Leopard as they go down towards 130R. Still Limitless in P3 with Joe heading the duel. And there goes Limitless down the inside. Is he going to squeeze through? No, he's not. Leopard just about holding on, but Limitless without doubt really is throwing the kitchen sink at it now. Leopard though has the DRS to the car in front. Limitless in a straight line, not as quick. He's very quick in the corners though, and it all closes up again down into turn 1. Will Limitless try and catch Leopard out in the S's now because he's so much quicker through there. Oh, this is absolutely tantalising stuff in the World Championship battle. I am loving this. Joe still leads from Leopard and the flying Limitless. Look at him in the S's. He's so quick.
It's just, who's going to blink first here? I think that is the biggest question. Who will blink first? Because whoever blinks are going to be losing themselves time. Oh, there's contact between them into the second deck. That was just the sheer amount of grip that Limitless has at the moment. It's crazy.
Yeah, Leopard defending fresh air there. I'm interested to see why he decided that. I don't think he really thought that Limitless was going to go for that, surely, but oh, this is absolutely tantalising stuff. Lap 26 out of 27, still Joe, who looks like he's going to be safe now at the front of this Grand Prix. It's all about Leopard and Limitless. Limitless does have a 3-second time penalty, but the question is, does Leopard know it? Is he going to run the risk of contact? He doesn't need to. He can let him go if he wants. But there's no sign of it as they're about to start the final lap of this Grand Prix. Joe from Leopard, from Limitless, your top three as we go to the helicopter shot for the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's looking like it's going to be a second win of the season for OMG. It's Joe as things stand. Rosberg picks up a 3-second time penalty as they all cross the line. I'm briefly going to switch back to the battle for 6th 7th and 8th, because it is absolutely intense as anything. And here goes Infamous. Oh, no. He's going to spin. Round and round he goes. Is he going to collect anyone? Very, very nearly. Teaming up Brown and Bastard just about avoiding it. And the back end went on Infamous. Perhaps he still had the DRS open there, James. Maybe he didn't brake. Maybe he just left it off.
I mean, that's what I've said in qualifying. You afford to brake so late into the first corner. You don't even brake for turn one. It's the second part you've got to brake for. That's crazy how he's not collected anyone there. Absolutely tantalising. Leopard's going for it. The inside of Joe is there, but not quite on this occasion. Very close, but he really sized him up perfectly there.
Looks like Leopard's going in for the kill. He does not give a toss about the championship. He wants to win this race. And are we going to see fireworks on this final lap? He wants to kill it now. Maybe not kill it, but close to kill it. Rosberg has retired from the Grand Prix as LCR Leopard on the final lap fancies lining up OMG Joe to take his 23-point lead to 30 points. Limitless will be watching with anguish as here goes Leopard trying around the outside. He's going to try the outside into the final chicane on the final lap of the race, but Joe surely has enough in hand, and he will. Coming round the final corner and up to the line, OMG Joe wins a classic in Suzuka by 1.5 tenths to Leopard in second, Limitless third, and Kyle Mitchell fourth, Cena fifth, Piona Brown sixth, and Bastek seventh. But the big key here is the championship lead is extended to 23 points for the LCR Leopard, and it's looking very, very strong for him now.
Oh my goodness me, that might be. China was a classic. We've had a few this season. Silverstone was a classic. That was absolutely stunning. How these guys didn't make contact with each other on time, I can't believe it. I mean, I think what most people in the chat won't be able to believe is the fact that Joe and Leopard have finished a tenth between each other and not made contact, which is quite incredible. But 23 points in the championship, 2 rounds to go. I mean, it could still happen. It could still happen. Anything is possible. And as a Mott's man firmly said, well, anything happens in Formula 1, and it usually does. So we will soon see if we can live up to that.
Well, that was a classic. 1.5 tenths between the top two drivers. But you got to credit Leopard. There was no doubt about it. He did go for that towards the end of the race. He certainly didn't rest on P2, probably finding out about the penalty behind. He just thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. And in the end, it wasn't enough. OMG, it's Joe. Quite literally toying with them this afternoon, the championship contenders, wasn't he? Playing a game with them, it has to be said at times. And, you know, it made up for a much more stressful afternoon for the LCR Leopard and TRL Limitless, particularly LCR Leopard, as it allowed Limitless to be all over the back of him. But the big question is, why did Limitless let Leopard go at the start of the race? That has to go down as an error. We know how feisty Leopard can be and how difficult he can be to overtake. Joe proved that with his great move to take the lead earlier on. That will be a talking point for the interviews when we go to them in a moment. But it is OMG, it's Joe that takes the victory here. His second win of the season, only his second time scoring points. It only seems to be a victory when he scores points in ILR this year. And that is that for the Japanese Grand Prix. An absolute classic. And yeah, let's go through the results. James, take us through it.
Yep, so obviously we know the top 3. It was Joe from Leopard from Limitless. Your top 3 in an absolute classic. And it has to be said it was a classic as well between all these guys. Limitless had to get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, I'm pretty sure. I know there's a couple on Supersauce at the end. First, he finished third ahead of Carl Mitchell. Had a good race, actually. Really action-packed from the Canadian. Finishes 4th. It's 5th for Sierra after his penalty that really didn't help him. 6th for Piona Brown. Just 3 tenths between those two in the end. Really close stuff. Melanie finishes a brilliant 7th for 15th on the grid. Probably the most underrated drive off the lot, to be honest. That's a fantastic effort from Melanie in the Haas. 8th for Aztec in the end. Jason finishes in the points in 9th on debut. Infamous rounds out the top 10. Joe got close, but not close enough on this occasion. He finishes in 11th. It's 12th for João Pedro after his podium in Monza. It's not gone well at all for him. And then Verstappen, Rosberg, Reynolds and John Zananica, who's had another, dare I say, mare in Japan, and he doesn't finish the race along with Reynolds. So, podium interviews, let's get it on. Let's see who in. We've got Joe and Leopard, and we'll soon maybe have a elderly gentleman join us in the lobby and party as well. We will see.
An elderly gentleman. You're making me feel old as well now.
Well, I mean, compared
Goodness
to
me.
most guys in this party, Andy, I think old is anything above,
Absolutely.
you know,
20.
20.
Jesus. Oh goodness. Oh well. But
Right.
yeah, briefly. But okay. Well, while we're waiting, Limitless, I just want to quickly say, yeah, I have to agree with you about Melanie. That was a fantastic drive from him to come home in P7. Great drive from him. Sira as well. 42 points now adrift in the championship. I got to feel now that his championship hopes are over. James, would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's probably all but over. I mean, in real life Formula One, a driver would never say that because they've got a team working behind the scenes, but Sarah doesn't have that, and I think he'll be openly honest and say, I've not got a chance anymore. That's all gone. And Stan Limitless has joined us. We will get these interviews underway, and we'll start with the race winner for the second time this season. It's Joe. It was a tough old afternoon, wasn't it? Really, sat third on the grid, and so it wasn't always going to be easy from there. But you got the launch you needed. You got past, what was it, fourth on the grid? I can't remember. Fourth. Um, but it wasn't easy, was it? You had your work cut out. You decided to pit a lot earlier. Well, not a lot earlier, a lap earlier than these two behind you in the end. So clearly the best decision you made.
Yeah, I think the undercut was won me the race kind of because I knew how hard it is to overtake at this track, and just being in the DRS of the car behind, when they've got DRS, it's practically impossible to overtake. So yeah, I think that kind of won me the race, as I said. But yeah, it was a good race. I've never had so much thrown at me with my wheel being spasticated. My lag was horrific. I don't know if the other guys behind realised, well, saw that, but I kept like jumping backwards and forth, all they did for me. But yeah, and my wheel just kept on like pausing. I don't know if, yeah, as I said, I don't know if they noticed my car doing AI so much because my wheel is like, it's screwed really.
Oh, I'm glad you kept on that PG. But this race as a whole, it meant a lot for the actual championship itself. Obviously, you probably guessed that Leopard and Limitless fighting rather hard for a championship. But I'm playing on your mind at all. This is what me and Andy were saying in commentary. When you're racing, you never really think about these things. Was it just simply you just wanted to win the race? You weren't even thinking of what permutations were on in the championship?
No, my mind was really on my damn wheel to stop screwing up really. That's all I was thinking about. I was just like praying for it not to pause, etc. Yeah, it was not great. It did it into turn one, lap one, which was interesting. Yeah, but the championship wasn't really on my mind. They can sort it out between themselves really. I'm just here to test my pace out really.
Make it as hard as possible. Absolutely right. Congratulations on the win. Let's move to second place, Leopard, who I don't know whether you agree with me when I say it, but I say you were probably in the most vulnerable position that entire race. Is that a fair comment? You're always in between a fight, and you're always looking in front to attack and defend as well. It's a very difficult scenario to find yourself in, especially when you're doing it for 15 plus laps.
Yeah, it was probably a bit more cautious in terms of racecraft, I guess you could say, or the simple driving style of today. I think all else on mine was being JD, which I managed. But in terms of battling and defending at the same time, it was difficult. But the thing was, whenever I had to defend from JD, Joe was like, it kind of balanced out, I guess. Whenever I could try and attack Joe, JD wasn't really close enough to capitalize, and whenever JD when I had to defend from JD, Joe was so far away, so there was really only one thing on mind each time. I think I had to defend from JD a couple of times into the hairpin, but yeah, got a further 3 points. I think it's 23 points above JD, so that was scoring by 2 points. And was it USA next time out? Then should be, well, it will be job done. So yeah, GG to Joe, did a good job, and yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be close next time out in America, and obviously we know if Joe is racing, it's just almost a devil's advocate role he plays really between you two. Um, I mean, question it, well, just a little thought. It's not really too much race terms, I suppose, but just I'm interested. Were you running a little bit less downforce in that race just so you were able to gain on the straights? Because that was obviously the best place to make overtakes, was probably down the main straight, not down any sort of straight. But because we saw Limitless was closing out a little bit more through the first sector, was it just planning the race in the sense that I need to make overtakes in this one, and the straights are the best place to do it?
That's secret information.
Oh, in which case.
Yeah, that's secret information.
Right. Well, congratulations on your second place. We'll see whether the championship can get decided in America. But before we do, we'll come to the man who is probably now the only man who can actually stop me from doing that in JD. It was a tough race by all accounts. Started on pole position, so you must have been pretty happy with that. But the race, it was a difficult one. It looked like for yourself. Constantly sat on the back of these two, Joe and Leopard. Was it just tempting to ever just go for an absolute lunge and just go, you know what, I've got nothing to lose there, let's just go for it?
Yeah, well, first of all, well done to Joe and then Leopard. I've spoken to a lot of them to change quite a lot of things for the set around here. And yeah, I was pretty surprised with the pole. It was a really quite a nice lap, managed to get in the end. Yeah, in the first stint, thought I could get away on the first lap. So I tried so hard to get the DRS zone. I did that. Pretty good race. I did that, but I tried really, really hard. And then realised I couldn't escape. And then Leopard think he would go overtake me anyway. So I just turned down my ERS and stuff. But I think even if I tried to fight it, he probably would have overtaken me anyway. And yeah, I obviously I made one mistake in the race where I went out wide. The first corner locked up and got a penalty. But apart from that, didn't really make any mistakes. And I felt I was much quicker in the corners than both the guys ahead. But just on the straight, I don't know what it was. Engine overheating, or I don't know what it was, but I was losing so much time on the straight. It felt like I just didn't have any slipstream, and I don't know if it's a glitch or I don't know if it's to do with the setup. But I know raising the rear wing on the setup doesn't actually make that much difference, to be honest, in the straight line. I need like a half a tenth, so losing visually quite a lot of time. So I think if Joe wasn't in front of him, I could have had a really good chance to maybe get ahead and stay ahead, but it wasn't me. I tried everything I could, and yeah, as you said, I did try a couple of lunges because I knew he didn't really want to overtake him because I knew he just wanted to just get points from me in the championship. So I knew he bought 4 car laps back. I had a good opportunity into the final chicane, and a couple of times I tried it, almost took him out a couple of
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, that would have been bad. But, yeah, a couple of times I was hitting him quite a few times going around, but I did everything I could. I couldn't have done any more than I did. The straight line speed was just non-existent. I don't know why, but yeah, I just did everything I could today. So
Absolutely. I mean, as I just said prior to the question, was really you're the only man who can take the championship away from Leopard if everything goes to plan for Leopard. It's between you two. So what's the approach to the last 2 races? I mean, it's going to sound pretty obvious, but it's got to just be it's got to be balls to the wall, hasn't it? Frankly, you can't really go any other approach. Is that the approach you'll take, or are you just going to be a bit more like, oh well, I'm still gaining points, but you've got to really go for it now, surely?
yeah, it's going to be pretty impossible. It's going to be really difficult. Obviously, I don't hope for him to disconnect or anything at all because I've lost an AOR championship with disconnecting before. Than anyone, but yeah, it's very, very, very difficult. But yeah, I've just got to win. And if he has a bad race, he gets damage or something from someone else, then yeah, I'll just focus on losing. To be honest, just as long as I win, then that's what I can focus on. And yeah, that's what I'm going to focus on. I just have to win the next 2 races, so and then just take it from there.
Absolutely. Congratulations and commiserations on the 3rd place finish, Andy.
Yeah, well, where do we start? What a great Grand Prix that was. Great fight at the front. I've got to say thanks to Joe for you know, making it uncomfortable for the two championship rivals, particularly Leopard, who was, you know, was left with a dilemma. Does he attack Joe? Does he stay where he is on the side of caution? And really, really enjoyed that. You know, whether Limitless is kicking himself for not fighting earlier on with Leopard when he had the chance, I'm not too sure. I suppose he said he maybe felt he was going to come past anyway, but you know, a great race nonetheless, and 2 rounds to go, and it just keeps getting more exciting by the moment. But Leopard now knows it's within touching distance. He has one hand on the ILR title. Can he wrap it up next time out? That's certainly what he's going to be aiming to do. But you know, see that 42 points adrift now. It looks like his hopes are all but extinguished. But of course, I think it's the US Grand Prix we're off to next for the penultimate round of the championship. Can Leopard wrap it all up? I'm certainly looking forward to that one. Can Limitless strike back a pole position today? That was something we did not expect. So congrats to him on that. But you know, it's all shaping up for a fine finale to the final 2 races, and we hope that you join us for it. Next about the United States Grand Prix. But that's all from me. That's all from James, and that's all from the 3 guys on the podium. Good night.